Hello, everyone. Today is February 5th, 2025. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. So I see David's here. David, do you have an update on the white paper today? We can go over that.
We certainly can. I did add some more stuff in there after our last meeting, and we can take a look through there and see what we want to do.
Okay, so let's first, so let's do this one. White paper. So let's first go over this one. I think there are probably some questions about the CBT, the status. I see that you guys just posted the meeting minutes there. So yeah, who is going to talk about this? CBT status. Who's going to talk about this?
Okay, there's really nothing much. We haven't made any progress since the last meeting because we still can't cut the release. So
So okay, so I can cut it for you for this time. So now I know why that you don't have the permission. That was before. I think at that time when we cut this, when we created this repo, you guys are not a org members yet, right? I believe those are the reason. So you were not added as admin. Um, so
Makes
we
sense.
may need to. Hmm?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So I think maybe we need to just add those ourselves, submit some PR. So I need to, um, I think Rashid, you you probably look at that. So there are some PRs that those SIG contrib EX folks they added folks there. So maybe we just need to go there and submit those and then ask them to approve it. I think so. What we can do is just go back to the original request to create this repo, and then see what are the PRs they submitted. Then probably we just need to submit PR there. Make sense?
Mhm.
So
So I have a CBT related topic
oh
or question. A gentleman showed up at the CSI meeting last week asking about changed file tracking and said,
oh
when are we
I
going to bring that to
think
reality?
he is Niels, right? I believe it's Niels.
Was it Niels? Okay, I didn't
DM
remember
Red
the
Hat.
name.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
Um,
and
Yeah,
then
I think it's me.
so change file tracking. I think we mentioned we did we mention that in the cap? I don't remember. Someone remember what did we say? I know we talked about that saying that's going to be future.
so the CBT clearly said it's not dealing with with change file tracking. It's a different out of scope for the CBT. So it's a different.
Right.
It could be a different PR or I mean
Mhm.
separate cap
Separate
probably.
cap. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But as far as like the existing code and CSI spec changes that have been made, were they made with an eye towards extensibility to files in the future? Are there parts of them we expect should be reusable, or should an effort to add change file tracking like start from a clean sheet of paper?
The latter is my opinion. I mean, the others may have other opinions because the nature of the layer at which you're looking at stuff. I mean, we're looking at the block device level. This is the file system level, right? They're totally different layers.
Well, yeah, in terms of like the data layer, but in terms of like the user interface, like for Kubernetes, a PVC is a
Yeah,
PVC is a PVC,
sure.
and
Yeah.
the CSI spec, a volume is a volume, and snapshot is a snapshot,
So
and so all that stuff is kind
Sure.
of similar.
Sure. We could, I mean, there's
yeah,
definitely the structural implementation can be emulated in terms of, but if you're talking of the spec itself, the transport layers would are not suitable, right? So
Oh yeah. I mean, significant changes are necessary. It's just I wonder if someone showed up to do the work, would we tell them like try to reuse this and try to reuse this, or would we say like go off and start over?
Yeah, I think we've set a pattern for how to bypass the Kubernetes API server securely,
Yeah.
right? And that pattern can definitely be followed. But apart from that, the rest of it is all domain-specific detail.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Probably
really
right.
just the list of changes that are coming out, right? I mean, otherwise everything else should be the same.
Well, it's the request. I mean, basically, because the domain is different, right? It's how you request the objects, right? Again, I don't know what the for file
Well, you're
tracking.
starting with a CSI volume and 2 snapshots on that volume, which is the same whether it's block or file. And
Yeah.
then you say, give me the diff between snapshot A and snapshot B. And instead of getting a list of, you know, LBAs, you get a list of paths or something like that. I mean, that's to be designed, but right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
probably
Well, that's
paths and conceivably changes inside of a path.
okay. That's true. But again, I don't know the scope of the request. I mean, what if someone was, say, adding file stores like through NFS protocol, right? Something
Yeah.
like that. Is diff possible in those cases, right? I mean, I think it's
I
too.
mean,
I agree with what
did,
you said, Dave, but that narrows the scope of the request to a very specific scope.
Well, no.
Yeah, from a CSI driver point of view, we'll have to introduce a new identity or like capability that advertises that we support a diffing with a particular CSI driver. And
Yeah.
then we'll have probably a new gRPC call specifically to deal with file system. And then this will not be like a change, but an addition. It will run parallel to whatever we've implemented currently with the same framework and everything. So we'll not have to build it from scratch, but it will be an addition over it. So we'll not be changing or the current spec or anything like that, from my opinion. So we'll be adding a new RPC call, a new RPC capability, and then exposing exposing external snapshot metadata protobufs for the client to access.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
basically, like if an NFS file share is supporting snapshots, that's the first thing it has to support, right? But that currently goes, if you have an NFS share that supports snapshots, it would go through the current mechanisms, right?
I don't know.
It should.
The CSI driver will show it's not supported. So the external snapshot metadata will query if the CSI driver supports this capability, and it will return not implemented. So the request will not go through
But I think we
because
do have
it's
some
still.
NFS. I think NetApp may have implemented it, right?
yeah, I was going to mention NetApp does change file tracking, and they have for over a decade. They do
Yeah.
not change block tracking, and so like that could serve as one way to do it. But in general, only storage systems which implemented a file system internal to the storage system could implement that feature. And yeah, the details would be kind of system dependent, and any CSI spec would have to find a way to have a common enough way to do it across systems, right? The nice thing about blocks is LBA, and LBA is an LBA no matter what planet you live on. You know, it's the same. Files and file systems get kind of hokey. So you'd have to
Yeah, I mean, you
figure
also
out
have
a
to
way to,
consider metadata of the file, right? Because a change in metadata could also constitute a change, right? Someone changes the permission or file, that's
yeah.
significant. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Right.
so I'm not suggesting we try to solve it. I just wanted to call out that like
yeah,
Niels is interested, and this is probably the right venue to discuss it in. So this is open invitation to more people who want to work on that to
yeah,
come and start extending this work.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So I,
definitely.
so I work with Niels in the same team. So yes. So similar to NetApp, CephFS also supports it. CephFS SnapDiff. So we'll be working on it next. So one is the changed file tracking, and after that would be like changed block tracking within the files itself. So that's probably like after the changed file tracking is implemented. But yes, we'll definitely be working on it next.
Yeah.
But I
So,
think for Niels, this meeting may be a bit late. So
well, we should figure out the So there's the NetApp implementation. I know when we talked about it a few years ago, I think Isilon had an implementation of change file tracking. And yeah, there are other things you could do. Linux, unfortunately, doesn't have a good file logging. The Mac does, strangely enough.
Well, what does, what was the last one?
Oh, the Macintosh.
Oh, Apple OS.
Yeah, but that's not, yeah, there's a nice event stream that comes out of the file system, but that's not really something we deal with very often.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to figure out like, do we care about sub-file range changes or just the whole file change? And you have to answer questions about metadata and yeah, you'd have to it would be more complicated for files than for change blocks, I think, which is why we started with change blocks, because we thought it would be a more tractable problem.
Yeah.
But
And you can certainly do things like say, file changed, and that just means back the whole thing up, metadata and all. And then you could have
yeah.
subfields of like only the metadata changed or only these blocks changed.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd want to call it blocks. You'd want to call it byte ranges, just to avoid
Fair
the
enough.
confusion.
Yeah, byte ranges, yeah.
Byte ranges is fine, but whatever it is, right? So that would be an extension, an optimization over the whole file changed.
Okay, yeah. I guess we could have different levels of detail in a changed file implementation. You could have coarse-grained file change information and fine-grained file change information.
Yeah.
And strike a balance between how much metadata and how much wasted backup bandwidth there is.
I mean, that's up to their implementation, right? Is what they could
Right.
provide. So
Right.
yeah, because it definitely starts to hit you, when you've got large files like virtual volumes, then knowing what changed inside is a big plus. But that's an implementation. That's a back end detail.
Something just tickled my mind. Are record-oriented file systems still a thing?
Oh God, I hope not.
They talked about byte ranges. I said, oh, okay.
Oh God, shades of VMS.
Yeah.
We would want to think too about eventually extending things to like object stores and databases and stuff.
Yeah.
Object would be a decent place to start.
You mean changed object tracking for a bucket?
Yeah.
Like
we
I don't even
ourselves.
I haven't been to the Cozy meetings in a long time. Do they have snapshots yet in Cozy?
No.
Okay.
And they don't even have a standard API, right? Or did they change
No,
that?
there are API, but those are for the buckets. That's not for the object, right? For this one, you at least
Yeah.
need to have like some Kubernetes representation of the objects.
Well, you would need to have a standard concept of a bucket snapshot. Once you have a bucket snapshot, you can say, what's the diff
Snapshot.
between this bucket snapshot and that bucket snapshot? And what it would be a list of objects, right?
Yep. So, food for thought. I don't think we're gonna
Yeah,
skip-
that's too much. Yeah, that one still trying to do a V1 Alpha 2. So too early to get this, but I can definitely tell them this came up. Some more future features.
Yeah, because that would then be outside of that would no longer be the CSI.
Not this one. Yeah, that's the cozy meeting. Yeah.
But
But right now that one has a lot of other things to consider. But I definitely can bring this up.
Yeah, and people who use and implement buckets tend not to think about them the same way we think about volumes. Like, well, while snapshots are possible,
So you're
much
actually thinking that we actually do not really need to represent objects, just bucket level is sufficient. That's what it is.
probably. I mean, I unplugged from the cozy meetings a long time ago because I didn't have the mental bandwidth. But when I was involved, it was always just buckets.
I know it is. I am attending that meeting, but I'm just saying that you think it's sufficient if we want to do this like change some
No,
change. It should be
if it's going to be useful, you'd have to be down at the object level. I mean, the thing is, most people don't back up their buckets at this point, but we keep getting requests for that.
I mean, I know of object store implementations that'll snapshot your bucket, right? And then you could asking the question of what's the diff between this snapshot and that snapshot of a bucket is an interesting question.
Right.
But it's pretty uncommon in terms of use cases.
Yes. So it's not like our burning priority, right? It's just oh, by the way.
Well, if
Yeah.
you don't have a Kubernetes API to do a restore or something, then what good is knowing the change, right? I mean, whatever we propose here has to be part of a subsystem that can fulfill some user story. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah. The
find the
question
user stories.
is anyone writing software to back up the contents of a bucket or not? Because typically the way buckets and backups intersect is the bucket is your backup destination, right? You're putting your backups
Right.
into the
So
bucket.
you kind
You're
of
not backing up the bucket itself.
right. So you
Well,
kind of replicate that when
Replication
buckets.
might be the thing, yeah. But that's
we get that request fairly often, and we got that request for Valero as well, because a lot of times people use buckets, especially like with on-prem storage. They may have an on-prem object store that they're using to keep non-backup data in, right? Because there's a lot of other things you keep in the object store. And so, yeah, it's there. I don't think it's our biggest concern at the moment.
Interesting. All right, I didn't mean to sidetrack this meeting. I just wanted to toss out there because
Yeah,
it
no
came up
problem.
last week at the
Those
CSI meeting.
are yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
I
good.
think those are relevant actually. Interesting and relevant. Okay, so going back to this one, right. So yeah, so if whoever is interested in this one, you probably just need to think through this and put together some proposals to move this forward, change file tracking. Right. Okay. Now for this for this one, so I can, let's see, you basically just need to first, let me just at least create the branch, right? You cannot create a branch even, right? For now,
branches. Well, we update.
you cannot do this one, right?
No,
So
no, we fork. We're doing our own branches. Yeah, we just make PRs.
okay, okay, is everything merged? Are we waiting for anything to be merged before creating this branch?
Mhm.
Because we are going to, we're going to cut release, we're going to cut 0.1, right? Is that right?
Yes.
I
Yeah,
thought that
yeah, everything's mixed.
I
Okay.
thought in GitHub branches were created client side, and you push a branch from your client into the repo, and that's
Yeah,
how new branches get.
I always create this way. So, okay. So if we're not, so are you okay? You guys okay that I just create now? Then I'll cut the
Just
release
check
later.
the what tag we put in the docs. Yeah. Yeah. So the branch. Tag, 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 tag. Really, we had called the tag. We had called the release tag. I don't know if you as V1
Oh, no,
point.
that's the tag. This is the
That's the
branch.
tag. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Branch, we usually name it the release
Yeah.
dash.
0.1.0 would be fine, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll just create, right? Everyone's okay?
It's 0.1.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
because it's
no
alpha,
minor version.
right? Because it's
No
alpha.
minor version.
Yeah.
Because the tags will have the minor version.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay.
I'm okay. Prasad,
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is great. Then I will cut release later, and then you guys can help me with the. Oh, anyway, I will try that later, and then we can modify the release notes. So I will just get that started a little bit later after this meeting. Okay, going back here. Oh, and then so once we cut the release, we should see those images created, right? It should be created, and we should see those images on the staging repo automatically, right?
Mhm.
You have CI set up, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so we'll verify that after that. Okay,
but what will the image tag be?
it's going to be V. So it's going to be V 0.1 as a tag.
That's not semantic release.
Sorry.
Automatic version
It's this
release.
one.
Yeah.
Sorry, it should be this one. So it's the
V0.1.0. Okay.
yeah.
Because that's what I had put into the doc in anticipation.
Okay. Yeah. So it's external. So we only need one, right? We don't have multiple things, right? Just one image, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So name would be this. Is that okay. So the naming, okay, let's see. I think we usually name it differently for the other branches. I just want to check the images. Let's see. So, okay. So how did you name yours? So we usually name this is a sidecar, then we name it CSI dash something. So what is in your, you probably already have that in your
I pasted the link to
make.
the chat, to the doc PR there. So you can see what we documented.
Okay.
Registry, KHIO, 6 CSS
Oh,
snapshot metadata. Yeah.
this is the, okay.
Yeah, actually the
Mhm.
external snapshot metadata.md, the other one, yeah. The last one.
This one?
Yeah. So if you just bring up the rich view, you'll see it clearly here.
Yeah, okay. So the name would be okay, CSS snapshot meta. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's consistent with our naming convention. Okay, I think this is okay because I think I won't be able to put this one there until the image is promoted. So this will come later. Okay, yeah. We'll do this later. Okay. Yeah, because this we'll only get this one after the promotion. So we cut the release first, then we wait for some time for this to show up in the staging repo. Then we promote it. I will submit a PR to promote it.
Okay.
Or you can also submit a PR to promote this. But okay, we can communicate in the working group Slack channel later. Okay, so we are good with this now. Anything else we should discuss here? Okay.
Is this considered as alpha release?
It's Ava, right?
So do we also need to publish a blog?
Oh yes, I thought Carl has some draft or
No,
placeholder.
I had
Huh?
the docs PR, the one I pasted in the chat. That's the docs PR. It's not a blog. The blog, I think we need to do too, but that's after we have something out. You know,
But you need to commit to writing the blog before, and then they'll give you a slot, and then you can write the content and deliver it after the release.
yeah, I think there's a
So
placeholder PR sitting for a long time.
no, this is not tracked because we have been because so if you want, I can add that because otherwise we can still write the blog. It's just they're not going to coordinate this one with the release, right? So if
Yeah.
you want to coordinate this with
Yeah.
1.33 release, then I need to add your
I think there's been a
which is
there's been
your okay.
Sorry, there's been a placeholder PR for I think 131 on
Because we have been like so we added this auto tracks out of trip. So they are not really. So if you want, we can opt in. I think
I'd recommend opting in for the publicity.
Yeah.
To get more promotion
but
of
then,
the blog post.
But then you need to have you guys updated the cap yet for 1.33 though? Then you need to update the milestone.
No.
Huh?
Okay. We are done for 132, not for 33.
Okay, I think you just because we have already Oh, you know what? I think then they are going to ask you to update because there's some changes to the template. So you need to do those too. If you want, then we need to do those. So we need to get this merged by next Thursday. So I think, okay, so let me just add the milestone. Okay, so that's good. I think that's it. So once we opt in, the release team should get notified. They probably will ping. Did they ping you recently? 3 weeks ago. Oh, okay, they did ping you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think once since I added this one, I think they probably will get a notification they're going to ping you again. So you probably I think what you need to do is you need to update the cap with the latest template. Just go to the cap repo to find the latest template. So there are additional information you need to fill out. Then
Okay.
you get those. I think you should actually submit something as soon as possible because there was also like the PRR deadline, which is tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because I was initially because you guys this has been here for a long time. We are kind of doing this auto tree thing, so that's why I didn't because otherwise you just need to update the cap accordingly, right? So if you look at this, just go through this one. This is old. I didn't. Okay, yeah, but I think it's probably the same repo. There is always the template. They are kind of changing it every release. Probably there's some small changes. So take a look and see if you missed anything, right? Check the template, update the template, update the latest milestones. Then I think that should be sufficient. Yeah, just see this one because if there are some, they may have some new requirements you need to fill in. You need to fill out. Yeah. Okay.
You said next week is the deadline. So do we need to
I think you
create
need to I mean, I would say you try to update it by tomorrow because tomorrow is actually
Okay.
the PRR deadline, right? There's a PR deadline, just meaning you need to fill out this information by that deadline. So the PRR folks can take a look. But since I hope this is easy because they have already approved it before. So it's just there are some latest information. Maybe they want to take another look.
Yeah.
But but just take a look of the template and see what's missing. When did you last update it?
I think during 132 release cycle.
So hopefully maybe there won't be many changes. Take a look. Yeah, maybe you have already figured out everything. That will be the best. But take a look over the latest template, and then
Okay.
just look at this one. Just see if there's anything you're missing.
Yeah. And then what will be the deadline for blog?
A blog is still early. You have time for blog.
Okay.
yeah, Carl and Priscilla, we'll
Yeah,
talk.
but the blog you can submit a placeholder, right? Did you
Yeah.
know if you have already submitted it in the
We
past?
had for
We
132.
had, but
I
I
think
don't
that is
recall.
closed already.
Okay, I think you can probably still use that one. You just can I don't know what is there. You can just say, hey, this is for 1.33 because
Yeah,
it's
for like
submitted to
don't they do like one a day after the release, and they
right,
try
but
to like time them so they roll out gradually.
yes, but
Yeah.
that's like but in the beginning you just need to opt in by submitting a placeholder
Yeah.
PR, right?
Right.
We
So
could change the base branch, I guess.
yeah, we
So
won't
base
have
branch should be released
they're not
133.
going to tell you the dates until much later. Yeah.
They're gonna want you to have the content ready like by the time it releases, and then they push the blogs out, make them live like one per day.
Right.
Just some
Yeah. So that you still have,
publicity.
yeah. So blog will come later. Yeah. So let's just make sure our cap get merged. So basically, you need to get the content ready for PRR review by tomorrow, and then the cap needs to be merged next Thursday. I think it's probably Pacific time. Let me check the time, but I think we're probably fine. Yeah, but please try to submit something.
Yeah.
By tomorrow.
Carl and Prasad, is this something you need any help with or anything I can help with?
Yeah, we need to check how many changes are there. So last time we had to just update the milestone. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if anything is changed after that.
Yeah, just compare your what you have with the template and see if there's anything missing. But
Yeah.
since you just updated last time, maybe there won't be many changes. You can just take a look.
Prasad, is there a link to this draft anywhere?
Yeah, I will share.
Yeah, please share it. Thank you.
I think that's right. Just to check the wait. Okay, let's just copy this one. So PRR, okay, it just says, it just says 6th. And yeah, okay. We'll just put it in here as well. Let's remove this one, it's confusing. Okay. New template by, yeah, okay. Anything else for CPT?
I'll be reaching out to everybody and we'll start a collaborative document and slides for the KubeCon talk.
Okay.
Do that probably by the end of the week.
Sounds good. Thank you. Is there some other message? Oh, this is the enhancement issue. I think we have it here. All right. Okay, moving on to the next topic. Dave, you want to go over this? So let me make you a co-host so you can share.
Sure. See if I can share to place the current share and so this is where we're at the moment. We had some ad hoc discussions the other week. I put a bunch of stuff in here. It's basically I've been working on definitions and have to get back to like what are the actual recommendations. So that would be finish up a bunch of the definitions. There's still some more things to go here, and then start coming back to what are actually the recommendations. So that's where we're at the moment. I guess still looking for other folks who are interested in working on this. I've been kind of scattershot on it. So yeah.
Dave, let's do a work session. I'll try to help punch it up a little bit.
Okay.
I'll put it on the calendar.
And then is the link available for everybody?
Yeah, could you put it in the chat?
I just added it in the doc, in the agenda doc.
All right,
great.
cool. I'll grab it there.
Yeah, let me know if there's any issues with the link. And any other questions, comments? I mean, I know nobody's had a chance to look at it, so. Okay. Well, so that's where we're at the moment, and we'll continue working on that. And Xing and I are doing the presentation, the data protection working group presentation. We're planning to use some of the stuff here as the core, so like do a new presentation this time rather than the previous one.
Cool. That would be good to keep it fresh.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody has any other suggestions for things we could put into the working group presentation, but feel free to send them in Slack or whatever.
Where is this presentation going to be delivered?
KubeCon, London.
Okay.
Do you have an outline for it or anything like that, Dave?
Not yet. So that's on our list of things to do.
Okay, just like me. All right.
We still got a month, right?
Yeah. No, more than that. But
We got to get going on that.
Time flies, so.
you're supposed to share the slides, right? Or something at the end of next month, something to that extent. Well, yeah, Dave, if you'd send a link to that outline or anything like that, could take a look at it too.
Yeah, as soon as we have one, we'll share it.
Very good.
Let's see. Yeah. Where'd Russ go? Hey, Russ. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks. So, yeah, reach out on Slack and we'll talk about how to do things. I appreciate the help.
So I have a memory of a very old white paper. Is this a revamp of that or a replacement for that?
This is in addition to that. So the original white
Okay.
paper we did was about why do you need backup and recovery for Kubernetes in general. And one of the things we've run into just has been that applications and especially operators often don't do well with data protection. And so kind of going through, and this is more targeted at like if you're an application developer or a operations person, what do you need to know about data protection, largely backup and restore, but we'll try and do other things as well. When you have, so how do you prepare applications for disaster recovery, and what kind of things might you need to do as an operator to make things
Right.
work?
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So the old white paper is still valid, and this is just
Absolutely. Yeah,
parallel to that.
so the old white paper is still all
Yeah,
stuff.
we started to tackle this, and it was maybe an appendix, maybe it was a section, maybe it's so. This is where we are now, and we'll
Okay.
reference it from the original to here.
Nice.
Yeah, please take a look and add your comments if you want to help with any sections. Okay, so yeah. So maybe we can give people some time to review it. Maybe next meeting we can just kind of go over it and see if anyone have anything to add there.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Okay, so I think and then the other project that is ongoing is the volume populator. So did we get I actually I think Daniel, you gave a name right on the Slack. I actually forgot. I think you provided some information there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a thread and people just mentioned some projects, I think, there.
Okay. Yeah. So the voting populace, so the cap update that got merged. So Ben, you have any? I remember you.
I was going to say we're not treating volume populators as a data protection feature, right? We're just saying that for the purpose of graduating volume populators to GA, we're looking for examples of usages from the data protection group. That's what we're doing, right?
But this is one of the features if you okay, I can maybe need to check the, in our white paper, we actually have a diagram that shows all those features that we are working on. That is part of this data working data protection working group, right? I mean, some feels like we are more, more.
I mean, the way I think about it is
Mhm.
volume populators is a broader feature than just data protection, but it is an
Right,
important
but it can be
tool
used.
for data protection.
Yes, correct.
Because the original genesis of the idea was I was trying to design a backup and restore system at my old company, and I was like, I need something like this.
Right.
And so that's why I created it.
Right. So we mentioned this one in the, I think you actually added a section in the old white paper.
Probably, yeah.
This one, yeah. So we mentioned this one in the restore workflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I thought maybe people in this one.
Yeah, I just want people to understand that like volume populators have a lot of other non-data protection related functions as well. It's one of those cross-cutting features that can be used for multiple things.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So that one, I think it's moving forward at the moment in 1.33. Okay, I think those are everything we have listed here. Are there any other things we want to discuss in this meeting? If not, that's it for today. Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye.